I was a little worried about the 2025 year of movies for a while, but it all rounded into shape. I think this is a solid year, and from my view, an improvement on 2024. This will be a top 10, but there are 11 other movies which for me are pretty much tied for 10th, but relegated to honorable mention. And those honorable mentions are Continental 25, Resurrection, Wake Up Dead Man, Homebound, Late Shift, Train Dreams, Predators, Perfect Neighbor, The Golden Spurtle, The Secret Agent, and Marty Supreme. So let's do the top 10. And these are kind of grouped in like tiers, if you will, like 8 to 10, 7 to 4, 3 to 2, and then 1 are kind of separate tiers in my mind. Like and subscribe. Number 10 is The Holy Boy. A teacher moves to a village where the villagers heal their souls by hugging a lonely boy with supernatural powers. This is some parts mystery thriller, some parts horror, some parts character drama. And I think the strongest part is the horror because of some unique ideas it brings to the table. It covers some pretty common thematic territory. We get grief, sexual exploration, and religious trauma. Most of those aspects, I think, are delivered uniquely enough that I don't really mind that they're common. I believe that you can rehash subjects quite a bit, and as long as they feel a little bit different or different enough, then I'm fine with it. And this is different enough to me. It has a good sense of style to me. The bulk of the movie can feel a little bit standard, but again, that's okay because it's got flourishes. It's got ideas like a unique sort of lens that I don't know the name of or the style of that has the ability to just kind of like warp everything at the edges. Feels a little different than anamorphic, but it could be an anamorphic lens. And it gives some images some kind of strange, otherworldly qualities, kind of intimidating at points. And I think it's got a good sense for camera placement at points to make a more unsettling frame than you might expect from just a regular expected placement. So this is a memorable horror entry for me, and it's my favorite horror movie of the year. 9. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Already talked about it a bit here. With her life crashing down around her, Linda attempts to navigate her child's mysterious illness, her absent husband, a missing person, and an increasingly hostile relationship with her therapist. This is a stress movie in the vein of an Uncut Gems, or maybe closer to Full Time. It's tempered with a little more humor, perhaps, than some other stress movies, but that doesn't make it less effective. It's presented in, the classic stressful style of a lot of close-ups on the main character, claustrophobically locking us into her decisions and her mannerisms. But I also like some other bits of presentation, like the camera never really showing the child's face. Some ways to read into that I like, but even at a surface level, I like that communication. And there's also like a little bit of a surreal bent, a very, very overtly symbolic streak in terms of like the way the whole is handled and some things like that make it more interesting than just a rote stress movie. And so I think this is a nice, enjoyable watch. Well, it's not enjoyable, sort of. It's a well-made movie. It's effective, and I'm glad that Rose Byrne was rewarded with an Oscar nomination. Number 8 is The Mastermind. Talked about it a little bit here. An unemployed father, an amateur art thief, sets out on his first heist with what he thinks is an airtight plan. I was a little bummed this didn't resonate with more people, but I guess it's not surprising. I mean, it's pretty slow, and it's not what you would expect from a heist movie, which is at least most of the point. The thing that stuck with me the most is the film's very dry, sarcastic sense of humor. As you might expect for a heist movie, things don't go quite how they're expected to, and often that is quietly played for laughs. The score is fantastic. It is perfectly on brand for this kind of movie. And, often it's crushing it over some kind of dumb, mundane, very unsexy heist-related action. And it's just the funniest thing to me. I think it's great. Kelly Reichardt loves her deconstructions, like in Meek's Cutoff, for example, and this is another one. Even the title is sarcastic, where we have, this alleged mastermind, the self-proclaimed mastermind, the cool score, the sexy setup, and the guy is just an absolute bum in every sense the entire movie. So I love that deconstruction, love the score, love the humor, one of the best endings of the year as well. Number 7, It Was Just an Accident. An unassuming mechanic is reminded of his time in an Iranian prison when he encounters a man he suspects to be his sadistic jailhouse captor. Jafar Bahani has been in trouble with the Iranian government for a while and has been arrested and has had to make more than one film in secret as a result. And that aspect alone, I think, makes this an intriguing watch. Every scene has an additional layer of suspense and intrigue in thinking about them getting away with this filming in real life, in addition to the fictional narrative, which itself is suspenseful and stressful and tense. A main draw is the script, which expertly explores and communicates its ideas. This is also an extremely well-directed film. There are fantastic comedy cuts. There's great blocking and planning for some of the film's longer shots, utilizing both space and a lack of space to great effect. Another one of the best endings of the year, great usage of sound, and the end credits, really, to communicate extremely well. So it's interesting not just as a film, but as a piece of filmmaking, as a historical object, and as, just something of courage from all involved. Number 6 is One Battle After Another. Talked about this here. When their evil nemesis resurfaces after 16 years, a band of ex-revolutionaries reunite to rescue the daughter of one of their own. If you're plugged into movies at all, You're already familiar with this. It's Paul Thomas Anderson, who's the big winner at the Oscars, did well at the box office. It's an extremely well-made film across the board. I'm so impressed by the ability of the edit and the music to tie its long sequences together, its long sections together. The first chapter, or whatever you would call it, of the film is connected with a musical idea, as is the backed and cross section, which is the most impressive to me, how it manages to have one musical theme tied together. I think it was like a 20-something minute section. Fantastic car chase, outstanding performances, whole bunch of great humor. A lot of digital ink has been spilled about the movie's politics, whether they're good or not. But honestly, I think political ideas are mostly in service of thinking about the world in which we leave our children. I don't think the primary idea is one of revolution or what kind of revolutionary action is good or appropriate or necessary. I think it's mostly about the way those actions shaped Bob and Charlene's world, and how Charlene will inhabit that world going forward. It's not to say that there's it's not good to think about the politics of the movie, but I think it is not primarily a movie about political action. It is more a movie about family. That sounds kind of lame when you put it that way, but a movie this wild and this exuberant does not make that idea feel lame. This is an absolutely memorable movie with so much skill going into it, and it's a movie that I am certainly not done rewatching yet. Number 5 is Materialists, which I talked about here. A young, ambitious New York City matchmaker finds herself torn between the perfect match and her imperfect ex. I'm aware that I am basically the only person who likes this movie this much, but I absolutely stand by my opinion. I think this movie is incredible. I love Celine Song's vision of movies and of direction. She's so good at knowing how to use space, among, of course, other things. But that feel for space is tied in with the edit really well, which, like Past Lives, one of my favorite edits of the year. And a lot of that is due to space and the way she uses it. I love how willing it is to let shots linger on people as they're not talking, as they're just possessing and living in that moment. But there are also wonderful moments of timing, transitions between scenes and ideas. The movie is so funny. I think a lot of the jokes are a little on the dry side, but they work so well for me. I laughed a lot throughout. I've got some light misgivings about Dakota's performances in general, but I think this is basically the perfect movie for her. I think she's great. I just love what Celine Song brings to the table. I cannot imagine not liking any of her movies because I just get what she's going for. Cannot wait for what she does next. Number 4 is Good News. Talked about this a bit here. When hijackers seize a Japanese flight and demand to fly to Pyongyang, a mysterious mastermind hatches a zany scheme to reroute the plane to Seoul. This is based on a real-life event. Would understand some light misgivings on using a real life kind of tragic event like this for this kind of movie that is more comedic and wild. To me, it's the kind of event that is ludicrous enough that it can be portrayed this way because it does absolutely say something that it ever happened to begin with. My favorite quality is just how fun and expressive the edit is. There's so many fun ideas for transitions and so many fun, what you might call reimaginings of real life. And I think those reimaginings are important thematically because they illustrate the way that, people's minds are impacted by information and ideas. Humor is great, the presentation is imaginative, and above all, I think it's simply compelling to watch this train wreck happen. Number 3 is No Other Choice. Talked about this here more extensively. After being laid off and humiliated by a ruthless job market, a veteran paper mill manager descends into violence in a desperate bid to reclaim his dignity. Speaking of visually expressive movies, this right here is next level. The edit is the most clear source of expression to me. So much creativity and transitions and gags and foreshadowing and symbolism. I mean, I would love to read the script and know exactly what ideas and edits were pre-planned and what kind of arose out of the post process, but there's incredible stuff. Even the sound is expressive, being used for fun punctuation and some wild mixing choices. There's unique camera placement and movement. And on top of that, it's a great social critique with really nice humor as a cherry on top. This is one of the most impressive films of the year for pure creativity and storytelling as far as I'm concerned. Number 2 is Lost in Starlight, which I talked about here. When an astronaut leaves Earth for Mars, the vast infinite space divides star-crossed lovers in this animated romance that crosses the cosmos. This is a special emotional experience for me. I've cried a little bit harder at a movie before, but I was crying for 20 straight minutes, basically. Just absolutely destroyed me. I pretty much instantly buy their emotional connection. Their interactions feel so human to me, and it's so easy to get on board with them. Love the music. There is one specific main song that is the weightiest of all the music in the film, which is great. But there are also montages in the film, and the music is a key part of keeping the emotion and the feeling alive and propelling it forward, really, alongside the montages. And I think the music does that perfectly. It's great animation. It is set in the near distant future, and I really like the vision of the future. Dystopias are fun, but it is also nice sometimes to see a more optimistic vision of the future. This is one of the best emotional experiences I've ever had in a movie, so that goes a long, long way, and I love this movie dearly. And number one is Nobody. I am watching this again later today with some friends, so hopefully this ranking doesn't change after I make this video. Four Yao decide to go west to retrieve the scriptures and become immortals. This, should be noted, is an adaptation of the novel Journey to the West. This could be an all-timer for me. A lot of reasons. I mean, there's just a lot of skill and a lot of things to praise across the board. The character designs are good. They are frequently inspired by the type of animal they are, which is great. The backgrounds are awesome. I don't have much of a vocabulary for Chinese art, but the types of backgrounds that are often used have like that kind of cloudy, vague quality to like the trees and the mountains and things like that that I feel like I associate with some Chinese art. Humor is varied, almost always successful, and not just like light laughs. I got like very good laughs in a wide variety of ways, like dialogue, visual gags, editing gags, sound gags. Like there's just a lot of different ways this movie gets its laughs across. Even makes great use of jump cuts, for sound for some environments. All this stuff is great. Like the things I just mentioned are awesome. Makes for a great movie just by itself. But this is more than a great movie, I think. I think this is a truly outstanding movie. I'll be vague on the reason I think that is, but I'll say the movie does not shy away from what it should be doing. And the fact that it does do what it should do is a beautiful thing. And that is what makes this like truly outstanding. What it manages to communicate and how it manages to communicate it. I think it's really special. And it was an extraordinary experience. And I hope that it will get a wider, even limited release, just some attention in other countries, because I hope other audiences get to experience it.